Hello ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to talk about Harebrained Schemes and Paradox Interactive's Battletech. It was released last week. It is a tactical turn-based strategy game in which you take command of a mercenary unit in the Battletech universe in the periphery. One second. Now, recently YouTube's been doing their purge thing again that they absolutely deny they ever do, but trust me, it's a thing. Several of my friends have noticed, and I have especially noticed because about 1% of my total subscriber base just vanished. No explanation, no rude comments, nothing, just gone. So please do make sure you are subscribed and make sure everyone else takes the time to hit the bell at the next to the subscription button to let YouTube know that you don't want to be unsubscribed from this channel. Now, in the meantime, let's take a look at the game, starting with the game's base options. Game options wise, you have a few gameplay things. Something you have to remember about this game, do not have a controller plugged up. So I'm going to give you some examples. No Nostromos. No controllers. It drives, the engine does not understand the input for the controller, even when the controller is sitting at neutral, and it will literally just cause issues. So make sure all controllers are unplugged before you start the game. If you find a controller is plugged up after you start the game, you'll have to restart the game. It's just something that's there. Annoyed the crap out of us the first time I streamed it. You'll notice there's not a center location, auto-center units not in combat, zoom in for context, and dynamic camera, it's there. Controls are pretty simple. There's not a whole lot of key bindings, and everything that's keybound you will be able to click on instead. Video-wise, the very basic end of things, and then the advanced video. Now, I have also heard some people complain that you have to VSync it. If you have a particularly older monitor, you will have to VSync or the game will start to eat your graphics card. Basic options for audio, show subtitles, MechWarrior chatter, so on, and your multiplayer block list. The sound in this game is actually pretty good. It's actually really good, and as you can see, the cutscenes, while they are minimal motion animation, there's a whole lot of additional emotion and evocative imagery that's projected here from these from these kind of artwork stylization, as it were. Now, Battletech is a game about big giant stompy robots marching across the battlefield. In the 1980s, where Japan had anime like Gundam, we had Battletech in the West. You take command of a mercenary unit trudging along through the galaxy. The purpose is to make money in what could admittedly be described as Game of Thrones in space. We totally know where Game of Thrones gets its inspiration. Now, gameplay phase 1, and this is where you will spend a good chunk of your time, is much like XCOM. You have to manage a base, or a place in which you are participating with your mercenary unit. At the start of the game, you start with a ship referred to as a Leopard dropship that literally is attached to the side of this ship right now, that thing. This is the Argo, the ship you were given for your mercenary unit for the duration of the game. As you can see up here, you have a timeline indicating when things are happening, such as mechs being repaired, pilots coming out of medical, and when a financial report is due. Up at the upper top, you have your funds, and I am going to move my camera now for your benefit. The name of your unit and symbol can be customized. I'm assuming that there are also ways to upload a custom picture for your unit into your drive if you so wish. We are going to reset our graphics real quick so that I can, easily access everything, and that means reducing the window resolution. Remember, everyone, that as a YouTuber I play in windowed mode. That's just something that happens. It's how we exist when we play video games, so we can access our various other things. But in the meantime, here you will manage the hiring of new mech warriors, your company inventory as well as the purchase of additional pieces of inventory for the mechs. You will manage contracts where you go out into battles. We'll go over that in detail shortly. Your mech warrior management, where units have experience. That's a thing. It's very clear what those experience bonuses grant you, though.
Mech warrior training complete.
And they have a rating of 1 to 10 for ability to shoot, ability to move their mech and to pilot their mech, how gutsy and tough they are, and their tactical know-how.
What can I do for you?
Training confirmed, Commander.
As you can clearly see, they gain experience with battles, and that experience can eventually just starts accumulating as extra. They also gain a specialization. Your specialization is based on the combination of 2 tactics that you took first. So a pilot like, say, Undertow here just got his specialization. He's a tactician. A pilot like Pelican is a defender. He got his specialization here. And that's kind of how your pilots work and operate. Mech bay wise, you do get a significant amount of customization with each mech, but only just so. Let me find a very... Actually, let's take the Highlander, because it's going to be the best example here. This is a unique mech that you receive based on your actions in combat, as well as based on your reputation from building your character at the start of the game. You will either receive a Highlander, an Atlas, or a Black Knight. Now, the Highlander here has 2 ballistic slots, 3 laser slots, 3 support weapon slots, a missile slot, and another missile slot. This is how things are distributed across a mech. Each mech has a certain number of slots for weaponry. The engines cannot be changed, which means that each mech doesn't... There's not actually 90 tons to play with here. If I strip all the equipment, there's only actually 46 tons to play with. And that's between... And if I strip all the armor, then you find out that there's actually 24.5 tons of mech that you can't change or alter. You're kind of just stuck with that. Now there's a bunch of different weapon systems. Autocannons for ballistic. There is a Gauss rifle in the game with a Highlander, but I haven't found any more of these. Energy weapons, missiles, flamers, etc. Each one is very well balanced, including melee. So each different type of weapon system has a purpose on the battlefield. Energy weapons just straight up are direct damage all the time and don't require ammunition, but they generate a lot of heat. But they also, except for the PPC, provide no real stability damage to the target, meaning the target doesn't suffer from the chance to be knocked over. Missile weapons do the absolute most stability damage, but require ammunition, and the ammunition can explode, as well as the fact that it can run out. Ballistic weapons require ammunition, but generate very little heat even compared to a missile weapon, and on top of that weigh a ton. But they do a solid chunk of damage to the same spot, whereas these 3 medium lasers will hit across different areas. We'll go over that when we're looking at the actual gameplay itself. Even sitting here with 10 million C-bills in the bank, I still feel like at any moment I could lose 4 or 5 million C-bills with the size of the unit that I currently have. You start the game, you only have this one set of mech bay, you upgrade the ship, which we're going to get to now. As I discussed earlier, you are managing a base here. And there is a full detail of upgrades that you will have to do to this ship. Starting out, the ship starts with 1 mech bay, 1 med bay, and basic drive system. That's it. Oh, and Habitat Pod Alpha. So those are the 4 systems you start with. Everything else has to be purchased as the game progresses, and they get expensive to both maintain and to buy in and of itself. You can also talk to each of the characters. I'm going to try to avoid that so you guys don't get any real spoilers. Now, anywhere on the map you can go to. You can travel anywhere. That is non-travel restricted. I'm assuming that expansions will allow us to travel to other places, because down here is the factions who are currently present. I have a problem. There are no planets in which Comstar is present. There are no planets in which a Steiner is present. There are no planets in which Karita is present, except for maybe 1 or 2. The point is, they're not even actually on the map. I imagine they're going to be in later planned expansions, but that's purely speculation on my part. The other problem I have with this particular system, as I'm about to get to it, now you also have finances and reputation. Reputation indicates how good the contracts they're willing to give you. Now you have a mercenary review board rating that indicates how easy it is to hire additional mech warriors, as well as it will give you an overall reputation with different factions to kind of give you more money. But you also have individual faction reputation. Now, my problem with this is I've never really seen a faction reputation dip very low or dip hard. Even though I just completed a mission to blast a bunch of Capellan things into pieces, the Capellans still aren't mad at me. That's a problem. Furthermore, because even though I'm a mercenary and I should be allowed to do whatever I really want to do, this faction here, the Argonian Directorate, basically because of the way the story is set up, you cannot side with them. You must side with the Arano Restoration. That's annoying. I get that it's a linear story, but all things, and that the game has to have certain limitations, but it really doesn't feel like I have an impact on the story itself, even though I'm led to believe I will. You can fully customize your company, as I discussed earlier. This is customizing how they look with different colors. Each mech has 3 to 7 patterns for how those colors go on the mech. Furthermore, you have all of these different symbols, and you can name your company whatever you will please. I have tested and it confirmed that you can insert symbols into here. However, I kind of wish that was a direct thing that I could just click on and do instead of having to go through my game files. Or create a mod, as it were. So that is everything that you need to know about how the ship is run. It is very much an XCOM 2-like experience, except for it's much more refined. It's easier, it's quicker to warp between places, it's easier to go from point A to point B, and the upgrades of certain things are clearly spelled out for you. There's no mystery there, unlike, well, XCOM feels like the need to maintain that level of mystery. Problem I have with this particular section and with the game overall is you're only allowed to hire mech warriors. You're not allowed to hire vehicles, and there are no infantry in the game whatsoever. I think the game would be better if they had those things. That's an honest answer. Now, let's get into how a contract is done. So I want to do a contract. Last 3 months, Comanches come and struck our facilities, personnel and supply convoys are all of these contracts down. This contract up here is a story contract. You have to eventually do this to advance the story. But these you can do. These are procedurally generated. Now, I have noticed that at a certain point in the game, I started replaying on the same map, but I was always deployed somewhere else. And the enemies are always procedurally generated per load screen. So if you load up and you don't want to fight that, you can reload to the autosave before that, and when it loads back in, it'll be a different set of enemies to fight. You'll still have to fight the same number and the same weight class, but it will be a different set of enemies to fight. We'd like to hire you to find a Canopian lance and destroy it. To demonstrate, we will not. Okay, sure. You're going to pay me up to a mil. You're going to include contract travel to this planet. They tell me it's a Badlands, so extreme heat makes it difficult for mechs to sink heat. So I know in advance that energy weapon mechs are going to be at a disadvantage. Okay, and I'm fighting a mech lance. We want more salvage. Let's go with that. And based on my reputation, also influences these max pay and max salvage abilities. So I'm willing to sacrifice some of my pay to get reputation with these people. And so now you have the travel sequence. Now this is something that I legitimately will complain about. There is no way to speed up this travel sequence. And when you have a slower... Oh, look, something else I need to talk about during this section. These are randomly procedurally generated events on the ship. Now, without upgrades, you can only choose the ones that don't have the upgrade options. The Argos' current budget includes a line item for crew entertainment. So far, after polling the morning briefing for preferences, Darius places an order. Soon, a shipment of popular new hollow chips from Garcia arrives. A mix of action, historical drama, horror, screwball comedies, and animated features. Now, I'm going to choose the upgraded lounge because I have that option. However, generally speaking, at the start of the game, you only have these two, and you only get this one after you get the upgraded lounge on the Argo for crew to relax in. Different events come up. They will directly affect this morale bar, which affects how high it is in combat and how quickly it recharges during battle. Morale is used to execute special abilities, such as precision strike and vigilance in particular, require morale usage. Mech warriors with high spirits have decreased morale usage in combat. But again, there's no way to speed this sequence up to say, hey, I just want to get there. So we're just kind of sitting here doing this right now. And there's no way to skip these. I get that it's part of the immersion, as you're a mercenary company and you have to travel. But I'm kind of miffed that I have to watch this cutscene for the 100th plus time. Over and over again. Now in travel you can still go to the hiring hall, but you can't go to a store until you actually arrive at the planet. Now I'm going to say not yet because I want to show you guys how this hiring hall and store, well, I can't show you how the store works. This planet has no store. But, so I guess we're going to look at the hiring hall real quick. You'll notice a reputation price increase. That's based on the fact that the local government or whatever government there exists here, that's how they are in relation to you. I would appreciate if I could make nice with individual planetary governments, but I can't. Now, refit to view warnings. Okay, well that's not good, so I guess we're not taking that mech. I'll figure that out later. In the meantime, we are going to take the Victor. So we have a Victor, a Thunderbolt, a Highlander, and a Battlemaster. There's a large variety of mechs and different mech variations. Some of the problems I do have with a few of them is how limited their customization is, such as the C1 Catapult only having 2 missile slots, and traditionally it's been an LRM-10 and an LRM-15 on each arm. Instead, it's just 2 LRM-20s. I would appreciate it if we could have a few more slots on certain mechs, just because I kind of wanted to make a Splat Cat and just run up and fling open with a bunch of SRMs, but I can't do that. Or I kind of wanted to make a Black Knight, but I can't seem to get a Black Knight. I have had some severe trouble with the mech variety at times. Entire enemy companies consist of nothing but Thunderbolts. Like a whole lance of Thunderbolts shows up and I'm like, I already have 3 of these. I just kind of wish it would give a little more variety roll, or a kind of way of preventing contracts from generating all same mech enemies, but can't do anything with it. Now, you get a basic story, keep an eye out for reinforcements. I got the impression these folks are a bit twitchy. You can never deploy more than 4 units. This is another complaint I have heard, not only from myself, but others, that deploying only 4 mech warriors at a time is a little annoying. Which means that right now, after this battle, I will be going through hours to train up a second mech lance, because it's been advised that I be prepared to deploy 2 entire mech lances. Well, I can't exactly deploy 2 entire mech lances, so I haven't been doing so. So I'm going to have to get the pilots and get them trained up to be ready to deploy as a second lance, just in case. That's extra hours of gameplay that are kind of pure grinding. Anyway. So you have all of your abilities down here. You'll notice they do have hotkeys. You can assign them all to have hotkeys if you so choose. The basic camera controls are a standard RTS camera control. Q and E, rotate the camera. W, A, S, and D, move it around. You can also move to the edge of the screen and it'll move that way. You can click your center mouse. You click your right mouse and move it up and down and change your plane. You know, just standard turn-based strategy controls. As mechs move,
Roger.
they have the option of sprinting, walking, or firing their jump jets. Assuming that they have jump jets. Some mechs don't have jump jets, or you just don't put them on. As you can see, we've encountered nothing. Currently processing what our opponents are doing, and then we will get another turn. Now, it's quite clear to me that if our opponents are up here, we want to be up here. So we're going to go ahead and just sprint our guys up here. Height advantage is taken into account with the game, just as you would expect from any strategy game post-StarCraft. If a unit has a height advantage, they will have an advantage to hit and an advantage to not be hit. As you can also see over here, you have your full weapon slot loadout. Let me move this camera up just a little bit. It is a game that was not designed with a dead space area in the interface. At any given time, every piece of my screen has been used, but for something. And as a streamer, that has been problematic from time to time. So we've detected 2 enemies, and I'm going to go ahead and sprint so that all of my mechs get the chance to sprint before we initiate combat rounds. Now, regular movement is different from combat rounds. You'll notice up here there's an initiative counter. This is kind of how that works. So light mechs go on initiative 4, medium mechs go on initiative 3, heavies on initiative 2, and assaults on initiative 1. We're all but one of us is an assault mech, so I expect us to go pretty close to last. And we have a 95-ton mech over here. I'm really interested in taking that home. We have a 55-ton mech, we have a dragon, and we have a 50-ton mech over there. So, different weapon systems, as I said, work very differently. So, if we fire our LRMs, we have to fire them over our ally in front of us, but... And as you can see, the LRMs generate a whole lot of instability in that mech. Just about knocking it down. Now, enemies that we can't see still go on their initiative. So I don't know what that was. I don't know who it is, but I know that I'm being fired on by them.
I hear ya.
So we're going to move where we can see both of these mechs.
Don't need to tell me twice.
The clear lines of sight are very nice, like just drawing a line to tell us what we can and can't see. So if I fire out here, you'll see I can only fire the PPC because it's the only weapon in range. Actually, you can't see the PPC. There we go. And it gives me a % chance to hit and how much damage it does. If I fire over here, though, I can fire everything. So this poor dragon is going to get everything but the PPC. And as you'll see, the heat bar here goes up and down. There's also a warning that flashes around the fire button. I wish the warning was a different color, maybe something brighter or more obvious, because sometimes I miss it. And I just knocked off my necklace. But there you go. And then we target the mech and we fire. Now I'm using Precision Strike, which is going to consume some of our morale bar, but it's going to let me pick where on the mech I would like this to land. And then it will change the percentage of where something is going to land. In this case, I want to just quick kill it. So we're going to gut its center torso. And that nearly did him in. He's going to be knocked down. He's going to take a piloting hit for falling. The ways you eliminate a mech is you destroy its center torso, which will give you 1 piece of salvage. You destroy both of its legs, which will give you 2 pieces of salvage. Or you kill the pilot, which will give you 3, whether that's destruction of the head or you kill the pilot via piloting injury. And right now I'm going to use my assault mech. Jump jets will always let you move further over rough terrain or forested terrain because you just jump over it and you're not inhibited by the movement penalties. Now from here I'm going to multi-target, which allows me to fire at guy who's knocked down and then fire my long-range weapons at this guy out here who's being annoying to us. Now you'll notice I'm doing less damage to him because he's guarded. But that guy who's knocked down, who can't guard himself, is now dead. Now it's obvious that they have reinforcements because the objective marker has come up that I have to destroy enemy reinforcements. And that 95-ton mech is moving towards us. Now, based on what we've been engaged by, I think it's safe to say that I should jump down here and deal with this mech. So as I said, I equipped the Victor with jump jets. I'm currently not detecting anything else. Up, I got another mech back here, 65-tonner. We're going to precision strike at this trebuchet. And I'm going to want to take his center torso out. Again, spending morale to get us some extra oomph to help kill him quicker. There's something back there with 2 PPCs. Now you can see from how the game works that every weapon system, it is clear what type of weapon system is shooting at you. It's unclear what unit is shooting at you, but it's pretty clear what weapon system is shooting at you, and the visuals alone tell you what has hit you and where it hit you. Much less when you actually click on the mech and you get a readout of the mech status to be able to see that information. Now, Behemoth here is designed as a long-range bombarder. So I'm going to move her back. She's going to walk, and so it'll walk backwards. It'll run forwards. There's a bunch of different animations for these mechs that really go in to make it feel like you are actually in command. And then I am going to bombard this trebuchet out of existence. That's a knockdown. Going to reduce his initiative to 1. And now we can call shot on his mech. But more importantly, our other heavy and our other assault mechs will now go before him. That's another missile-based mech, quite clearly. I can see that those are LRMs hitting me, not SRMs. Again, one of the advantages to missiles is you have so many hits going out that there is a good chance you're going to hit something, you're going to get a pilot hit, and you're going to get a headshot. So what we're going to do here is we're going to activate Vigilance, which is going to give her the guarded and entrenched ability, reducing her damage and increase her initiative. So now she's initiative 3 between all of the things affecting her. Then she's going to stand. Then she's just going to move over here and turn. We're going to find a place where she can... There we go. She can face both opponents. You don't want things getting behind you, because that is one of the advantages to having a faster ride, is you can get behind them. Now, she can't target the trebuchet, sadly. But she can target this griffin. I was hoping I could get a position where I could target both, but sadly I can't. So we're going to open fire on the griffin. And we're just going to fire all out. Bunch of medium lasers. Structure exposed indicates that the armor's been peeled back and we're starting to do internal damage. And structure is how you break mechs. Now it's quite clear from how that impact happened that I bet that this mech's leg is taking some pretty severe damage. And I would be correct. The armor has taken some severe damage. You'll notice up here at the top, we have armor and health for each section of the mech, as well as this bar giving an overall indication of armor and structure health. Now I'm going to want to jump jet out here. And I'm going to want to find out what these are. And it is 2 catapults. But I don't have a shot at the trebuchet. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a precision strike. Catapults generally have weak center torso armor. I'm getting an overheat alert message, so to compensate for that, we're going to turn off a medium laser. Now this thing's total is 225, and I'm going to hit it with 85 plus 80, which is not enough to kill. So there's no point in me doing a precision strike. I should save it. So instead, we're going to do a regular attack against this catapult and try to kill him.
damage.
Now, I will say that there is a bug where if you have high enough guts that you don't start taking damage at that the heat point indicated here, but it's actually further on the bar, as you can see here, they still voice that they are taking damage from heat. I am annoyed with that. Now, at present, this enemy mech is not yet in range to engage us. Our best bet is going to be to eliminate this mech to prevent that engagement. So what we are going to do here is we're going to jump jet back so that we have line of sight to every mech on the field. And both of these mechs are looking kind of weak. So we're going to multi-target, just like that, and see if we can get them. There's structure exposed on the center torso. Lost evasive, he's kind of staggering, he looks like he's about to go down. And neither of them went down. That was a bad idea. But now I know on my next turn I can kill both of them. That mech is still getting into range, whatever it is. I could sensor lock it and find out what it is. And there's another 80-ton mech coming into range, that thing that was shooting PPCs at us.
Waiting on you, Commander.
So we have Glitch here in the Battle Master, who's going to take a move and get at an angle where she can't be shot in the back, but can engage this Griffin in the front.
Got it.
And we're going to terminate that Griffin with a precision shot, assuming it needs it still. What's its internal structure? 65. It is going to need the precision strike. We're going to precision strike to the center torso, and we're going to hold a couple of lasers here just to vent a little bit of heat, but this should be enough to kill it. And it's dead. You can see from the number indicators that it was taking critical damage to the structure, not the armor, which means that we core the center torso and kill it. So I'm going to finish up this battle, and then I'm going to give you guys the overall impression of my review, so hold on one moment. So, I'd like to welcome you all to the post-game screen. Here you will get to see the measure of your success. Additional objectives will get you a contract payment increase. Remember, this is only payment in cash. It's not salvage, which we're going to get to later. You also get a debrief from your contact who explains to you, he's your employer, who you were shooting at, so on and so forth. As you can see, the Magic Canopus loses 1 reputation with us, and the Terran Concordat gains 12. We also get a Mercenary Review Award rating increase. I wish I had a number here to see how much this was, but up to 5 stars would be nice. Moving on. You think in a detailed layout of what bad things happen to you and your mechs and your pilots. Actual injuries that they received, not counting cockpit mod injuries that save you from getting injury hits, as well as what's left of the mech. As you can see, this Victor is missing a leg. It almost lost 1 hit point away from losing a torso, and that right arm is in pretty bad shape. The other mechs all just have armor damage, which can be repaired instantaneously. It also shows you a detailed layout of who killed who. Now, the last part of this is salvage. Here you will pick out things you want to keep. Now, I get to select 2 items, and then I will be given additional 9 pieces of items randomly. As you can scroll, you scroll all the way through here. This is everything that was picked up, including targeting systems and mods that change how your mechs work. You will see also items with a plus next to them that indicate they have a bonus. This item, for instance, is a slightly better medium laser than, say, the Hellion model medium laser. This long fire is better at getting critical hits, so on and so forth. Now I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm going to take 2 pieces of the Banshee and hope I get the 3rd. I did not. I got a piece of an Awesome, which you need 3 pieces of a mech in order to assemble a mech back together. Now I have 2 pieces of a Banshee and 2 pieces of an Awesome, but I don't have an Awesome or a Banshee. Crap. I have 1 piece of a Catapult and 1 piece of a Trebuchet. I got a medium laser, and I got the targeting system for the missile launcher system, which is kind of nice. And then we get into the post-battle phase. Now, this is things you will be doing post-battle. Because unlike, say, XCOM, where you're sold, where all your equipment gets automatically replaced and so on and so forth, you have to fix shit. So here's our financial report. All the upgrades to the ship and each of the mechs we operate cost a certain amount to use. It doesn't matter if the mech is an assault mech or if it's a light mech. It still costs the same amount because it's taking up a mech bay to keep it online. And then also each of our pilots, who are paid different rates based on their skill levels, as well as based on their how much they cost when we first hired them. We can then choose to change our monthly expense options. Increasing it increases the expense of all of everything, and decreasing it decreases the expense of everything. Understand that decreasing it will decrease your morale. Lower morale gives you more negative events or more higher likelihood of negative outcomes, as well as makes it harder to use precision shot and vigilance on the battlefield. Now, we get a message indicating our mech warriors need level up. Okay? Well, yeah, a bunch of our mech warriors have a bunch of experience. We should probably distribute that. Well, we can also give him another piloting shot. And it tells us what that number now gives us. Like, it actually just tells us what that number is giving us now. Medusa here can max out his tactics. I haven't actually put this guy into a fight yet, so Parrot has nothing. Pelican here can take another rank in something. We're going to give him a rank of Guts to give him that extra hit point. And Undertow here has, like, a bunch of things he can level up.
Training confirmed, Commander.
Now, as I was saying, our post-battle shenanigans end when we go in here to the mech bay. Here we have to fix our mechs. Now there's a refit warning on this mech, so I'm going to find out what that refit warning is first, because that's a priority. Oh look, I have an extra ton to play with that I didn't realize I had. Okay, well, what do we want to put in that extra ton? Well, from indication here, we don't have any additional. We can put a ballistic weapon, but there's no additional slots for anything else other than a support weapon. Well, how about instead of those things, we give it a heatsink? Can confirm, tells us how long it's going to take and how much it's going to cost.
Right. I'll get it in the schedule.
Now, the Victor that got shot up is going to be more repair. Armor is automatically repaired for just the maintenance of the mech. However, this stuff, we need to repair each of these two sections of the mech. They're still attached. And we need to fix the right torso, the right leg, because it is banged up. We also find out that because we lost the right leg, we lost an AC-10 ammo bin and a jump jet. Do we have an extra jump jet? Yes, we do. So we have to replace those. We have to put those back in. And then I tell it confirm. And this is going to take 4 days to fix. So we know now that this mech is out of action for the next 4 days. We can also come over here to components and see what we have for equipment, and we can go over here to storage and see what we have working towards assembling mechs. You can lastly choose a mech and shove it into the quote-unquote storage, which means it no longer costs any money to maintain or have that mech. All of its equipment is torn off of it, and it is now going to be sold. It can now be gone. You can now go to a planet with a store. We're currently at a planet that doesn't have a store, but you can go to a planet that has a store and sell that mech, and it's gone. But you get a boatload of money for selling mechs. By far the most efficient way to make money in the game is to assemble mechs and sell them. Now, we are informed that we have a better missile mod, which we do. This is +3 accuracy, which is better than +2. Though it weighs 3 tons compared to the +1 ton this thing weighs. So we would have to get extra tonnage to fit it. So we're going to leave the regular one in here and just, no changes. But intricacies of running mechs. So, what do I think of the game? Overall, it is incredibly good. It has drawn much of its inspiration from the Battletech universe and has kept itself very lore-friendly while adding something entirely new to Battletech itself. However, sound design and music, spot on. The rock music kicks up when it needs to kick up. You get this long, sorrowful, kind of drifting through space, a 2001 A Space Odyssey feel with the music when you're sitting in here. Sound effects are entirely appropriate to the point that you can close your eyes and you can tell what weapon is being fired at you. AC-2, AC-5, AC-10, AC-20, Gauss rifle, missiles, LRM and SRM have different sound effects. PPC has different sound effects. You can almost, there's a little bit of difference, but not so much that I can tell exactly what's being fired at me between the medium, small, and large lasers. Machine guns have, so sound design is perfect. Visuals are pretty good. You get a pretty good idea of what's wrong with the mech just looking at it. You can see it limping. You can see the arms about to come off. When a piece flies off, it explodes spectacularly. It flies off the mech like a freaking tornado hit it. The story is good. It's a very Battletech-centered idea with a kind of a mix of Game of Thrones, where you are simply the soldiers to a noble fighting on a grander scale, or what they believe is a grander scale. There are some tropes in the story, but they're tropes that you would expect from, if you've read Battletech lore, they're tropes you expect from Battletech lore. Someone committed a war crime, X person is screwing X person so that they can get them onto their side, and these people are only allied with these people because it's convenient at the moment. Problems and limitations of the game. 1, you can only control 4 mechs at once. You cannot get vehicles or infantry in your company as I described earlier. I'm kind of miffed about that. The AI controls up to 6 to 8. Really? They only really control about 6 to 8? Even though there may be more on the battlefield, those others are just kind of sitting there waiting for a control slot to be filled. I don't know if that's intentional or if it's a balance mechanic or what, but that's how it feels and that's how it operates. The story attempts to shoehorn a death of a character in a very early scene. They try to pull off Fallout 4. Yeah, it's nice. Spoiler alert, Mech Dad dies very early, like stupidly early, like before you're a mercenary dies. And I'm supposed to care. These even mentioned a couple times in conversations, and I'm like, I honestly don't care about Mech Dad. I knew him for 10 minutes. It creates a disconnect. Getting heavy in assault mechs can be a real chore. I will show you exactly what I mean. At present, I do have a good selection of heavy mechs. I have 4 assault mechs, but one of these was given to me for free, and the other 2 are really kind of just oversized heavy mechs. But I haven't seen an Atlas yet. I haven't seen a King Crab but once, and that mission I didn't get to salvage the King Crab. I have parts for an Awesome. I haven't assembled one of these yet. I have parts for another Highlander. I haven't assembled that. I have parts for a Banshee. I haven't assembled that. There are some other assault mechs I haven't even met yet that are supposed to be in the game. Yeah. There's a couple of assault mechs I haven't even met on the battlefield. I have not seen an Atlas at all. One of the most iconic mechs from Battletech. Have not seen the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Kind of upset about that. Now, I don't know, and these mission indicators don't really tell the whole story of what I'm going to be fighting. I kind of have to interpret it. We periodically survey entry worlds to be certain there's no unexpected activity in them. This time we got lucky. A compelling service team picked up Taurian signals from the surface of Fiaura that corresponded to very heavy mech running through its test fire sequence. We suspect the enemy is taking the mech out on proving trials. During figuring the damage is unpleasant. If we can locate and intercept the mech, we can keep a powerful piece of hardware out of enemy hands. So I have an idea that there's a powerful piece of hardware, but these skulls really don't tell me anything other than the tonnage I'm going to be facing. Like, I don't know what I'm fighting. And it would be helpful, because there have been times where I took a 5-skull mission and all I fought was medium and light mechs and turrets. That was it. I expected to run into assault mechs and I didn't see them. Furthermore, missions can take an hour to complete. The mission I just did that you guys were watching for a little bit, I was actually still playing an hour and a half later. So while that's great for the in-depth gamer who wants it to take that long, understand that it's not meant for everybody. Some of us will not want to take hour to an hour and a half to complete a mission. So be prepared for that. There is no way to speed up animations. There's no way to speed up time. Everything is done on its own time scale. For immersion purposes, I understand, but there legitimately should be an option to speed things along. Turrets can either be way too powerful or they're just there for cannon fodder. I'm dead serious about this. Light turrets can be mowed over by light mechs with one volley, whereas assault class turrets can literally take 3 mechs firing on it to kill it. There's a lot of talk about aerospace fighters and dropships that are mentioned. They're shown in cutscenes. They're shown flying over the battlefield, but you don't get any real influence with them, and you're made to believe that like the Leopard class dropship or dropships in general are fragile things, and they're not. And you're kind of left wondering, what's this big ship I've put millions of seabells into? Will it just fly apart if they start shooting at it? There's too little variety in the random events. They become repetitive after a while because you know the answer you want to give. Especially once you have the upgraded Argo parts, they become really, really just a way to boost morale. I have 54 hours into the game, and I will tell you right now, I've run into every one of them. I know the possible outcomes for all of them. There's a distinct lack of different endings of the game for your character. Despite you're given the illusion of choice, and each playthrough will be slightly different, but the story is pretty much set on rails. So don't think that just because you choose to be from House Davion and a noble and a wonder and do everything exactly by the book, or you choose to be like I am from the Magistrate of Canopus and a pirate, that it's going to influence the story you play through in any way, shape, or form in any real degree. It gives you some slightly different dialogue options, but really that does not make it worth replaying the game for. The replayability is in the idea that every time you play through, you're going to have different mechs and you're going to have to adopt different strategies based on the mechs you have, rather than trying to find the mechs you want. The long load time is due to an autosave hidden in the load, which is annoying. And there's a few launch bugs, like I mentioned at the beginning of this review, with the controller. Overall, however, for $40 or your regional equivalent, this is a very good deal and I highly recommend it. As I said, I've already put 50 plus hours into this campaign playthrough. I would gladly put more. It's a good game. It just is really rough around some edges. And those rough edges could repulse some players. But once you get past the initial growing pain of playing the game and getting into the game, everything is pretty much fun. You start to really enjoy yourself and you start to have a damn good time. And you can name all of the mechs. As you can see, I've named all the ones after various subscribers of mine, and they love it. They go out into the battlefield and they get shot up. Quick Stitch, for instance, here has lost his left arm it's a shield arm. There's nothing in it. But he's lost it 8 times now. 8 times total. That is right. He's lost his left arm 8 times. So we just keep making fun of him that they keep reattaching the arm, and he keeps going, do I have to take it? It hurts when they shoot it off. But that's just, one of the little intricacies here. There are other factions that are clearly written into the game for later. They clearly have planned out some DLC here, or a flat out, I would, if we're going to go old school, because we went old school with Battletech, can we go old school and just make an expansion? And I say this because House Steiner and House Karita are in the game, as is the Magistrate of Canopus and House Liao, but they're not really there very much at all. They are really, truly not there at all. So I'm thinking that there is some DLC planned or an expansion planned that we haven't seen. And the game is long. If you get into this game, you're going to be playing it for a long time. Like I said, I've already put 50 plus hours into the game, and I'm probably going to need about another 10 to 20 before I finish my first playthrough. And then I'm going to come back and play through it again. And play through it completely differently. Just because the mechs I will get, the things that and the different types of battles I will tend to focus on. Right now, I've just been focusing on all the different types of battles. You could choose to be a mercenary unit who specifically looks for assassination missions. But the point is, game is good. I would recommend it. Check it out on Steam or Good Old Games. And, you know, if you like this video, hit the like button. Here's the previous Brutally Honest review for you guys. I apologize to the Pony fans who came here and are still wondering where the physics video is. It's in progress. I have to rewrite half of it because I made a couple of errors, and those errors have to be fixed because I don't want to give you guys something subpar. So that's a work in progress. And you can check out over here if you're looking for the Fallout Equestria live stream game that we will be playing on Wednesday night. If you're looking for the story that we've written and you want to catch up to where we are in the game, check the description below and you will see a link to the story. In the meantime, it's been fun and wonderful, and I will see you guys next time.